Hello everybody, happy Monday. It's Jillian here, and today I'm going to talk to you about 3 ways to end yo-yo dieting and what they are and what they are not. And for some of you, this is going to make you feel a little uncomfortable because it's going to go against a lot of the things that you may have been taught or may have just tried and done in your history of yo-yo dieting, which is probably part of why you've been yo-yo dieting. But that's not to say that it's your fault. It's just really how the weight loss world works, and probably even maybe what one of your healthcare providers have told you to do. So if you're coming on, you can say hi. Hi, Brenda and Michelle. I see Star. So I'll go ahead and get right into it because it's Monday afternoon and I'm sure you guys have had a long day. Number one is, and when I first say this, you're probably going to be like, no kidding, but that is to have a realistic diet. And you probably heard that one before, but I'm going to go into it a little bit more here. So a realistic diet, let's talk about what a realistic diet is. And so what a realistic diet is something truly what you can start doing now to really see yourself on this healthy lifestyle to get you where you want to be and stay where you want to be. So I do not see that I have ever done my job for you or done you any justice if I've gotten you where you want to be and you don't stay there. So I can give you any diet. There are a ton of diets out there that will definitely get you 40 pounds off in the next couple of months, and you'll feel great and you'll love me. I'll probably be your favorite person because I can certainly tell you what works to get it off and get it off pretty quickly. The problem is you can get there, but you probably aren't going to stay there. And I have completely failed in my job as somebody who teaches people how to lose weight if in 6 months from now you are right where you started, or worse, you're even more than where you started. So what it is something that you can realistically do and not hate the world for, and not be starving and not feel isolated, which I'm going to talk about in a second, and really feel like, hey, I could do this. I like this diet. And notice, I don't know if you notice about me, but I'm not afraid to say the word diet. I know a lot of people, give it other code names and they call it, a plan or a lifestyle or an eating plan. To make it easy, I just called it a diet because that's what it is. I'm a dietitian. I have no problem calling things diet. Hey, Rhonda. And the other thing, though, that it is not, and this is really the more important thing of what it is not, and that is, it is not a low-calorie plan. It is not a low-calorie, reduced calorie meal plan. This is probably what's going to go against the grain more for you and against your comfort zone than anything else. You have probably, and you can tell me in the comments if you've done this before in your dieting weight loss history, you've probably done the 1,200 calorie diet or the 1,000 calorie diet. I spent probably 7 years of my career guiding people on an 800 calorie diet, and they definitely lost weight. But over the years, probably in the last 20 years or so, it was really, the whole eat less and exercise more, move more movement is what really has taken place. And, that's what we think works. That's what we know. We can see people lose weight if they eat less and they exercise more. And we know people get weight off that way. The problem is a low-calorie diet does not work. There is no evidence to suggest that people, if they cut calories, they're going to lose weight. Well, there's evidence that they'll lose weight. There's not evidence that they're going to keep it off. If you can show me a study where somebody, significant amount of people cut calories and keep it off long term and don't enter the yo-yo dieting cycle, I would be really surprised, and I'd like to see it because you have probably lived it where you do the 1,200 calorie diet, and to a certain degree you lose weight, but after a few months you can't do it anymore. Your body fights you, and you're fighting physiology, and your body starts to adjust from just a physical standpoint, and starts matching that calorie intake to only burn that many calories. And there's certain ways that our bodies can do that to slow down so that we don't starve to death. That's just how we're designed. We're not designed to lose weight. And eventually, when you're just tired of eating those low calories, or you're hungry, and you start eating the higher calorie level, your body doesn't go back up to that higher calorie, and that's when you yo-yo. So you're eating more calories, you're burning less, and then you gain it all back and then some. And so over time, we get into our heads that this is the way to do it because you've been successful, and you end up tanking your metabolism with each and every diet, because your metabolism slows down a little bit every time you try to lose weight. And that's the problem. So when somebody comes to me and they want to lose weight, I usually tell them to forget about the MyFitnessPals and the Spark peoples, because the reason that people are doing it is usually to count calories. And if you're counting calories, it's probably going to get you back to square one. If you're using it because you want to track other things, you want to track your weight, you want to track, I'm seeing keto diet up here. I actually do have a lot of thoughts on the keto diet, and I can pop my blog post on there later, because that would be a whole nother topic. But the keto diet's not a bad diet. But if you are doing it for keto, and you want to track your fats and your carbs and protein, then there's other reasons why you might want to use those several fitness trackers that are out there that will track all that stuff. But most people have to get away from the Spark peoples and the MyFitnessPals, because they get too honed in on the calories. And the calorie counting, you have to believe me when I say it does not work. It is not going to be your ticket to weight loss. You have to focus more on the types of food you're eating, and because it's the types of food you're eating that's going to help you, and changing it up that's going to help you lose weight and keep it off. Meaning, cut out the processed foods, cut out the simple carbohydrates and the junk foods, and increase your intake of fiber and high protein foods. And that's really, it's more about how our body processes foods versus how many calories we're eating. And that's a relatively new concept. And if you're talking to somebody that doesn't understand weight, they're going to tell you to eat less and move more. So the next thing is to, so that's number one. Then number two is to increase. I am going to tell you to move more but not in the same way that you've heard. So to increase your NEAT, it's called, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. The NEAT, that's what NEAT stands for. And this means it's non-exercise. So it's basically non-exercise movement. And this means you are more active in your regular day-to-day life. You're not, going to the gym is a good idea. It's definitely a good idea. Somebody like me that sits at a desk all day at work probably should make an effort to go to the gym, although I don't. I've gone to the gym a few times in my life and end up, like probably many of you, it becomes a donation to their cause versus me actually using it. But if you can make intentional times throughout your day to just get up and do 10-minute walks, 3 10-minute walks a day is the same as 1 30-minute walk, then you're going to be doing yourself a lot more justice, because chances are when we do 3 10-minute walks a day, we're more likely to stick to that than 1 30-minute. If you do 1 30-minute walk, let's say you have it all planned for this afternoon, chances are something's going to happen several times a month where you don't get to it, whether it's a flat tire, or you're just too tired, or you stay at work late. Somebody's got, a child gets, sick, all kinds of things happen to take you away from that 30-minute walk you planned for yourself. Now that stuff is still going to happen, but if you planned a 10-minute walk in the morning, on your lunch break, and one in the afternoon, then when all of those things happen, that 10 minutes is going to be you're going to lose that 10 minutes, but you've not lost the 20 minutes you've already done earlier in the day. And all these little things that we could do, whether it's not going through a drive-through, not taking the elevator, doing the stairs, all the things that we know to do and we just don't because we don't think it's a big deal. It actually is. And if you wear a Fitbit or a pedometer, you can see how it adds up. So if you are walking under 5,000 steps a day and you have a pedometer to track it, a good one, then you are not moving enough. And so that would be your first goal, is to get to 5,000 steps a day. Once you're there, then work your way to 7,500 steps a day. Once you're there, for most people, that's probably good enough. 10,000 steps is for people who are probably healthier, younger, fitter, maybe doing some intentional walk every day. But for most of us, if we're doing 5 to 7,500 steps a day, 5,000 to 7,500 steps a day, we're way ahead of the game of most people. Gyms have, and exercise equipment have just really become more popular because we're just sitting most of our days. But we don't need them if we're being intentional about moving. So that's what NEAT is. NEAT is not going to the gym and killing yourself and going to 2-a-days and exercising for an hour or 2 hours. That's another thing that's going to get you into yo-yo dieting. You're going to do these things that certainly work, but then you're not going to be able to stick to it because it's not a lifestyle. It's not a lifestyle that's something that is going to, that you're going to want to stick to for the long haul. Nobody wants to eat 1,000 calories a day and exercise for 2 hours at the gym. It's really not fun. So it's not something that is sustainable unless you really, really like going to the gym. But even then, you still got to make it realistic and part of your life. And so then the last one is pretty simple. It's creating a social support system. So many people that I have worked with over the years have really felt like if they just didn't have a husband, if they didn't have a family to cook for, if they didn't have friends to go out to dinner with, that they would be successful in their weight loss plan. And it's opposite. So isolating yourself and never going out to eat and never going to the movies and never going to social gatherings is again going to put you on another yo-yo dieting pattern because it's not realistic. So it's not something that is years from now when you've lost the weight and you're maintaining it. You're not going to continue to tell people that you can't go out to eat with them or you can't go to the movies with them because you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to keep it off. That's silly to even think. So again, it's about having the right people around you that are supporting you in this, whether it's finding people that want to lose weight with you and then being able to go and have fun and do things with them, and then having your people, your family and your friends that aren't doing this with you, being able to do things with them, but having a good backup plan and having a good plan in place on how you're going to handle those types of things. So hopefully you found those things helpful. Just a recap really quick. A realistic diet, meaning not counting calories. And so I'll have to do another live later this week on what that actually looks like. Number 2 is increasing your non-exercise activity. So really kind of aiming for 5,000 steps a day and working your way to 7,500 steps a day, but it's not killing yourself at the gym. And then number 3 is having a good social support system and not isolating yourself and just never doing anything fun because you're afraid you're going to eat the wrong things. That's what 3 major parts of a plan is to lose weight and not yo-yo diet. So if you want to know what I recommend for people, certainly feel free to reach out to me and I can guide you in the right direction, bounce some ideas, or just get a feel for where you're coming from. I'd be happy to help you. And otherwise, thanks for coming on, and I will talk to you next time, and have a great rest of your Monday. Talk to you next time.